Hello, good people, and welcome to the Higher Living Podcast. And guys, do we have a treat for you today? In studio with us, we have 5-time South African bodybuilding champion, female bodybuilding champion, Bronwyn in studio with us. And it is just such a fantastic time of the year to have this conversation with Bronwyn because it's a new year, there's new fitness goals, there's new health goals, people are trying to get in shape. And Bronwyn firstly, being a professional athlete, and secondly, having a lifetime basically in the sport of bodybuilding and wellness, has got a plethora of tips and things that she can give us in terms of just making our lives better, that we don't focus on the body that drives everything that we do. So do not belabor that point. Bronwyn, welcome to the Higher Living Podcast.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you for the introduction. I'm doing good, always good. Okay, so you want to tap into what your everyday person, how they live their lives, how they should maximize life as it is. Obviously, health is probably the most important factor. Okay, without your health being in place, without being fit, without eating healthy, everything can fall apart. Okay,
so Bronwyn, before we get into your illustrious bodybuilding career and your or your wealth of information and knowledge around healthy living, tell us a bit about who Bronwyn is. Tell us the Bronwyn story. Tell us, where did Bronwyn start, and what has led up to the point where you're at? Let us understand what you actually are.
All right. Okay, starting from a small girl, let's say. I had one sibling. He's only a year older than me, so we pretty much had the same schedules. We would go to school, and since primary school, we would finish school, either do school sports. Sports was always a key aspect in our lives. Okay, so that was the beginning of the journey. Okay, we would go to school, do after school sports. After school sports, we'd go home, put our bags down, go to gym, and then homework was last on the task list. From there, okay, I studied after school for a short while. I then did meet my partner, who I got married to, had 2 children. I was fortunate enough not to have to work, so I could focus on being an executive house mom. Okay, I would take my kids to school, go and train once in the morning, go and have coffee with the girls, then go and train again. And eventually, some years later, I was approached by a guy by the name of Chris Scott. Okay, Chris Scott was elderly. He's known as the godfather of bodybuilding here in South Africa, was known, also known as Don. And he approached me and he said to me, I can train you and I can make you great. And I went home, I discussed this with my husband, and he said to me, go for it. So he took me under his wings, and within 3 months, I stood on stage for the first time and I won. Thereafter, it was competition, pretty much after competition. However, I understood the rules. Okay, I spent many hours every single day with Chris Scott and being mentored by the best of the best in the sport. That entailed not just bodybuilding, but diet and your everyday living people, how the system responds to food. How the system responds to food in terms of appearance, in terms of thinking. That's where it started competing, and I just continued, and I've done it now for 13 years around.
And how long, 13 years, have you been considered a professional athlete?
In 13 years, I had never once stood on stage and not won. So from year one, I stood IFBB, I won. Second year, I shifted over into NABA. These are your two largest federations in the world. I shifted over to NABA because my ex-coach slash trainer was Chris Scott, and he was chairman of NABA. So I shifted over to them because I wanted to be faithful to him and to the sport and to the federation, sorry. So it was continuous from year one, which was 2013, up until a year and a half ago when I switched over to NPC, which is your affiliating federation with IFBB. I stood in that one. So I would have, all these years that I've competed, I've been a pro with NABA.
Okay, so I mean, just so that everyone understands, most sports have different federations, and those federations are basically the governing bodies that athletes align to. But in the bodybuilding world, I think, from what I understand, the different federations also look for different types of physiques. Was
Correct.
that a fair thing to say? Okay, so what would an IFBB look for versus a NAPA?
Look, it's very. Can I be honest with you? They do. So what I would suggest to any person that is going to compete is you go onto your federation's guidelines, and they will specify what they are looking for in a particular category. Now, before you even start to prep, you look at those specifications and you work towards that. Okay, so if you've got a bikini girl, that is generally, I would say, for an IPB person, they actually do, believe it or not, look for a higher body fat percentage. They want a healthy looking girl that, in my opinion, goes to gym 3 days a week, but it's a girl that looks good, but has walked off the beach and doesn't diet herself, if I can say, to death. Versus, for instance, your fitness bikini girl. Okay, that would be a lower body fat percentage. Okay, but now you're going to take IFBB versus a federation like NABA. Okay, you're going to go with a fitness bikini girl in IFBB. Okay, who's going to have a lower body fat percentage, but needs to be cut in the right places. Okay, so she's going to have lines down her mid. Okay, slight striations in her quads, a full bum. Okay, so here we're looking at symmetry, full bum, but not too shoulder capped. Okay, so she's not going to have a big upper body, not at all. It's more of your feminine but fit look.
Is that what they call the hourglass physique?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, look, I mean, I know you, right? So I can, in my own mind, attest to the type of athlete you are. But for everyone else that's out there, let's sketch the picture of Bronwyn Dean. So, guys, if you're unfamiliar with Bronwyn Dean, please go onto Google and Google Bronwyn Dean and just get an appreciation for what Bronwyn, represents in sport of bodybuilding. At your peak, Bron, what was your weight? What was your body fat, and what was your height?
Okay, well, it varied year to year. Okay, my height is 169. Believe it or not, it actually did come in shorter 1 year. I'm not, but my stage weight varied from year one, around 60 kilo mark, to when I prepped for Universe, it was around the 72 mark. And then my last show was 65.
Okay.
But
Now here's
off
the
season, you can add 10 kilos onto that quite easily.
Now let's get to the important number. When you're standing on stage, even at 16, let's call it 70 kgs. When you're standing on stage at 70 kgs, what's your body fat?
Just under 4.
Just
under 4, which is very difficult for most girls to achieve, yes.
Just under 4%. That is crazy.
That is
It's
not that
it's
is
like
not easy to achieve.
that's on death's door, right?
Yeah, you're pretty much knocking on Bob's door, yes.
And now, when we from the outside, the layperson, looks at somebody standing on stage at 4% body fat, and we look at this as this pinnacle of health and wellness and the pinnacle of what a human being could look like, how do you feel on stage?
Can I be honest with you? You are not at your strongest. However, depending on the day that you wake up, you can feel amazing because you are now looking forward to standing on stage, showing your hard work, and then your meal. Okay. However, if your mindset isn't right, generally your health is not at its peak. It is
Yeah.
not at its peak. You do not feel good. Those 3 weeks leading up to stage, you are pushing yourself mentally every single hour of the day. Every single hour feels like a day. So it is extremely difficult. Your body is taking strain. Your body wants to fight you every minute.
You're manipulating your body constantly.
You are definitely.
And
You are pushing your body to boundaries nobody's body wants to go to.
yeah, yeah.
And in
And
order to do that, you have to have the strongest mindset. You have to be under, I would say, you have to understand how to manipulate that system as well. If you do not, you will not get to the perfect final product. Because
and
you got to be able to get that minimum body fat percentage with a full muscle still. So you've got to get your best on stage, which means your maximum muscle with the least body fat, which is very difficult for anyone to hit on the head, because you can go over that where you start to get into the muscle, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that that the sport requires you to push yourself to that point. The question that I have for you is, why do you do it? Why? What is the why? Because obviously, when you're at I mean, we've all at some point in our lives tried a diet or tried to exercise and tried to create a healthier way of living. And it always is unsustainable. And you cannot even compare that degree of difficulty to preparing for a stage show. What is the why for you? Why do you do this?
The ultimate reason is for the one that recognition that you receive from the judges, the recognition that you receive thereafter is worth more than any money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And
worth more than any sacrifice that you put in, because you've now shown people the limits that you can push yourself to, and
yeah,
they've given you recognition for that.
yeah. And it is your pursuit of being the best.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And
And
remaining the best.
yeah. So currently in South Africa, you're when you stood on stage, you remain unbeaten, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
So
what do you think
so far,
separates
Sean.
the
So
rest of the
far.
yeah, so far, I guess. And what separates you from the rest of the pack? I mean, and I'm trying to like draw an inference here to myself and to the rest of the people listening. Everyone wants to be the best that they can, and we've talked about this many times on the show. To be the best, you need to be powered and fueled by something that's greater than money, and that's why the purpose, right?
Mm.
So now that you've got the purpose and you've now on this journey, how did you keep yourself motivated along the way?
Well, I just want, for me personally, I want to prove to myself that I can still beat the rest. I still want to prove to people that I have not given up,
Mm,
that I don't
yeah.
want to give up. I still want to put in my everything, regardless of what it costs me.
Don't understand. In this country, there's actually, I mean, how much do you win from a show? Do you win any money?
There is no monetary value in bodybuilding, not in this country. Worldwide, your top names like Jay Cutler, those guys that have made money from the show has been via social media. I think mostly marketing, mostly sponsorships thereafter.
Yeah.
But in terms of standing stage and winning money for standing on stage, little to nothing.
Yeah. And even
Little
sponsors.
to nothing. You're doing it for the trophy. You're doing it for the win. You're doing it for the recognition.
And even the sponsorships that you get, they're not massive, right? You often
Yeah,
probably find yourself
sure.
putting,
Sean, you in terms of sponsorships in this country, you must just remember we're not the wealthiest country in the world. So yes, you will get sponsorships, but it's limited.
yeah.
It's limited. So yes, you'll get your supplement sponsors. They will give you X amount. You'll
Mm,
get your name brands, but they'll give you X amount. In terms of what it costs you to actually do the sport and stand stage, um, versus your sponsorships, you can disregard your sponsorships.
yeah. No, it's definitely one of those sports where it's passion. It's all about the passion.
Definitely,
Um,
definitely self-driven.
yeah, and it is, I mean, we see people walking down the shopping centers that have great physiques, and we have no idea whether they're champions or not. So the community is a small community that not many people know about, you know.
Yeah,
Um, so even if you're looking for the recognition, you're only looking for it amongst a very small target group of people. It's not like being a mainstream athlete in a mainstream
100%. It's not
sport.
like being a movie star. Yeah,
Yeah, or being
your average person on the street isn't going to know who you are.
exactly, exactly,
Correct, correct.
exactly. And arguably, it's like when you're competing at that level, and I guess this is with anything in life, when you're competing at that level, it's about managing the detail. And I guess for you, it's like managing every single rep in the gym, managing every single calorie you put in your mouth, and understanding exactly what goes in your mouth and how it translates into what fuel you need for your body.
Definitely 100%. You need to understand your body. Okay, you do not understand that from the first time you stand on stage. You do not become a um, you don't become a professional in giving advice after standing stage once. um, that comes after many years of understanding that no two people are the same. And what I say to people out there is, if you're going to seek advice from the best people.
Yeah.
Seek advice from people that are the best, and then don't move, because that person needs to work with you to get your ultimate recipe.
Yeah, yeah, and just coming back to nutrition now, right? Because and for my even if I look at myself, for a long time I thought that the training was the biggest part of getting in shape. Is you going to the gym, banging out the weights, doing your cardio, and that's going to give you the most results. But what I found, yeah, and that just comes over time, is that it's if you want the biggest benefit, change the way you eat.
200% correct, Sean.
And I mean, with
Um,
your clients and people that you coach, what's the biggest mistakes that people make around just choosing in terms of the food that they consume?
the biggest mistakes my clients make, in terms of dieting, is lying to me about their diets.
Yeah.
No, I'm only joking. Okay, the biggest mistake people generally make, in terms of dieting, is that and they try and cut carbs. They
Yeah.
try to cut carbs and go full steam into the gym once or twice a day, and do a 180-degree turnaround in 3 weeks. It doesn't last. Very few
Yeah.
people can get the maximum results out of that, or even sustain what they have achieved within those 3 weeks. They go back.
Mm.
So what I would suggest to people is, have your plan. If you want to do it alone, have your plan. And don't go in on a full max.
Yeah.
Rather, if you have to, Google maximum allowance of proteins, carbs, whatever. Okay, if you want to Google it, that's fine. But have a base. Have a base and have a plan. Don't go into the gym twice a day. Okay, because you're taking your body from 0 to 100. You're going to burn out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have your plan in place, have your diet in place, and stick to that. Do not adjust it in your own mind. Do not let your mind tell you, I can adjust it because I've now Googled something else. Stick to your plan. If it's not working, speak to a professional. Look, I'm a firm believer. Just go to someone who knows what they're doing off the mark.
Yeah. Person goes to a nutritionist or they go to a trainer, or they get some sort of plan, right? Or they go
Yes.
online and they get a plan.
Yes.
And they are now implementing this plan. And then, Bronwyn, life happens.
Yes.
So end up at a work function or they go out with their kids or whatever the case may be. And this lovely thing called cheating happens. Or it's a terrible word. It's a terrible word. And sometimes I wish that it's not, we don't call it cheating, we call it treating, right? So they treat themselves,
Yes.
right? They treat
Yes.
themselves and their plan now. What does one do? Because the first thing that one thinks about doing now is stop eating and start training.
Correct. Correct. And as you know me, Sean, it's I don't tell people off the mark because I wait to find out if people are lying to me or not. But I do eventually tell people, if you have cheated, get straight back onto your plan. Do not try and calculate what you have cheated or treated with, okay, and then adjust your diet accordingly. Don't do that because of many factors, okay? First of all, your body's gotten used to you putting in the carbs, proteins, fats, etc. at certain times of the day, okay? Those certain amounts have been put in at those certain times. Yes, you're going to go and cheat. You're going to say, okay, but hold on, I've eaten X, Y, Z amount of fats, carbs, protein, so I'm going to take away meal 2 and 3 and half of 4. It doesn't work that way because you've now gone and put all of that into one meal. So you've confused the system anyway. So just get straight back onto your diet, okay? Let your body process the treat, okay? Get back onto the diet, and the following day you continue on your diet. You rather go over your calories because the next day when you go back onto your correct allowance, okay, your chances are better that your body will drop body fat, as opposed to you then trying to calculate, starve yourself, okay, and then go back onto your diet because your body's then overloaded, starved, and then it's refeeding. Okay, so you've now delayed from your cheat to another half a day to probably the next day where you restart your diet. Your body then is going to hold on to your diet food because you're starved, and it's only resetting the day after that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So you rather put in and your body straight away readjusts the next day, drops maybe a little bit of weight, and it's reset straight away. But now having said that, with a cheat, okay, you're going to increase your calories. Your body's going to want those additional calories the next day again, even with you back on your diet. That is challenging. You just push through that day.
So that means if you're due to eat at 12 o'clock, and this is the next day, and at 11 o'clock you start dying of hunger, you push through that hunger until 12 o'clock.
Correct.
Why would you do that though? Is that not slowing down your metabolism?
No. So a lot of people say to me, I'm on my diet, I'm sticking to my times, I'm sticking to my meals, but an hour before I'm supposed to have this meal, I'm really hungry, what can I do? The first thing I tell them is, if you want to lose body fat, you must be prepared to feel hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the bottom line, okay, and that is where self-control comes in.
Mm. And I mean, it doesn't mean you don't have to put anything in your mouth. You can have other things that are calorie neutral. So a decaf black coffee or a black coffee, for example, or water. You can
100%.
just
Coffee, water, is 100%. Coffee, water. You can look. I don't want to make people paranoid. Okay, not everyone wants to stand on stage. People just want the correct guidelines to lose weight. So, but I will put in there. Okay, that snacking is incorrect. Even if you think, okay, I'm gonna go and have a cucumber because I'm starving. Um, what you are doing incorrect is you are not allowing yourself to get hungry.
yeah, yeah, and that's a very good point. So you want to eat when you're hungry, and if your diet is working correctly, you should be getting hungry before you do to
Correct.
eat.
Correct.
Right. So if you are not getting hungry before you due to eat, does that mean your diet is incorrect?
Generally, what happens is you find a lot of people, when they fast, okay, they will initially get hungry. And then that fades away. Okay. What happens is you're slowing down your metabolism. Okay. If a person does not get hungry when they are dieting, it means they have slowed down their metabolism. People don't need to panic about this. Okay. Everyone is capable of slowing down. Well, not capable, but everyone goes through stages where their metabolism is slowed down. It's your body's natural way of surviving. Okay. If you're not going to eat, your metabolism is going to slow down in order not to process food too quickly, in order to keep body fat, right? It's a
Right.
survival mechanism. So if you're dieting correctly, you will get hungry. Okay, if you're not getting hungry, I suggest you bring more meals in,
Mm.
even if it's small snacks. Okay, so what we want to do is food in the way I explain it to people is food is like medication. It lasts so many hours in your system and then it's gone. Okay, what has not been processed towards good will feed fat. Okay, but that is now gone. You want to keep your metabolism going by eating at least every 3 hours
Mm.
within your calorie allowance.
Yeah.
So don't take your 3 meals and put it in meal, okay? Because your organs can only process so much per
Yeah.
meal, per sitting. However, you want to keep your metabolism going. So if you're not getting hungry, I suggest between your breakfast and your lunch, you put a small snack.
Okay. What about something like water
And between
consumption?
your
Because I mean, most diets
water
say consume
consumption,
2 to 3 liters a day. Is that something that you believe in?
water consumption, look, this is very debatable, if I can put it that way. I do, I do believe a person will drink when they are thirsty. Okay. However, water can only do you good. Okay.
Yeah.
It's good for helping processing, keeping your organs functioning properly. Um, all of the above. Okay, so your average person should consume between 2 and 3 liters of water a day. Okay, depending what your goals are, that can be readjusted. Okay, if you're training a lot, you need to increase your water consumption. Okay, but if you take a person, your body is not going to let you die of thirst.
Yeah. 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 True.
However, do try and take in those 2 to 3 liters of water a day for
Okay.
assistance of organ functioning, etc., etc.
Now, on this topic of water, right? I see this a lot at the gym where people supplement water for energy drinks. What's your feeling on that?
Water in place of energy drinks or energy drinks in place of water?
So when they go to the gym and they're training, they feel like they need energy, so they'll have an Energate instead of having water.
Can I be completely honest with you? Straight up, don't drink calories.
Yeah. Okay.
Do not drink calories. You're not increasing your metabolism. There's no solids in that drink. Okay, you're drinking calories. You're trying to burn calories. It's pointless.
So stick to the water when you're at the gym.
Yes, yes. Look, in terms of, like, for instance, your BCAAs that may have an amount of calories in, okay, however, it's going to assist in repairing
Yeah.
branch chain amino acids. That's part of a repair process. So that is fine.
Okay. Okay.
However, when it comes to, and hopefully I don't get sued by Kauai, when it comes to processing food
Yeah.
and drinking smoothies, don't do that. It's not helping your metabolism at all. You're taking in a hell of a lot of calories, and you've just worked it out.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. You've almost offset. You're now at a zero balance. You've got no benefit. You've
Yeah,
burned 200 calories, you put 200 calories back, and now
yeah.
you're at the place you were. Now, on this point of training, right? I mean, a lot of people go to the gym when they believe that doing cardio is just a great way to lose fat. What's your philosophy around, and what do you do with clients that are trying to lose fat? Okay, look, let's be honest. Everyone's got the same objective when they go to the gym and they're trying to get in shape. They want to lose fat, they want to build muscle, and they want to get their body tone in proportion and looking healthy. That's more or less the ask here, right?
I've got a very objective opinion on that. Just remember, I'm a bodybuilder, so cardio is extremely difficult for me. But however, I do believe that if you train correctly, you do not need cardio. Okay, if you are going to be training your weights correctly, you don't need cardio, and you will burn more calories and benefit from tone.
Yeah.
You can shape yourself with that time. Okay,
Yeah.
if you're then going to say, okay, right, I've reached my ultimate physique under this fat, and I don't understand how to manipulate my diet, then you can go and do X amount of cardio once a day, once every second day, or whatever the case might be. But in my opinion, it is not necessary if you know how to manipulate your diet and train correctly in the gym.
So what should the person be doing if they've got 45 minutes in the gym? Should they be doing weights or should they be doing cardio?
Any given person, I would put them on weights, okay, and you can make them train in such a way that their heart rate elevates to cardiovascular fat burning zone.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so not as every bodybuilder would train, where we tend to get lazy and do a set and then rest, whatever the case might be. If you give me someone that's overweight and doesn't have the shape, we put in the weights, we work on the shape, but we have very little rest. Very little rest. We push out the sets, you push out high reps, you're breaking down fat at the same time as getting tone.
Okay. So if one had to now commence this journey, what's the starting point? Do you go to the gym and say, okay, the Monday I'm going to train chest, Tuesday I'm going to train legs, Wednesday, or do you that typical approach, or Google a workout plan that you find on Google, or does one look at themselves in the mirror and say, okay, this is what my physique looks like, and this is where my physique needs work?
I think it's very difficult for your average person to look in the mirror and understand their full potential. However, 99% of people do look in the mirror and only see fat.
Would you prefer people train the areas of their body that needs work, or would you prefer people just split their body up into portions and train everything?
Oh, okay. So, your body needs a recovery time. Okay. Um, each muscle that is being trained. Let's say, for instance, if you use your legs for training, okay, or you use full body for training, okay, your large muscles require around 72 hours to recover. Okay,
Okay.
your smaller muscle groups require 48 hours approximately to recover. Okay, if you've got someone who spends, okay, and I would say a lot of people do go into the gym and they say, today we're doing legs, today we're doing shoulders, today we're doing back, whatever the case might be. However, some people overtrain. Now, when I'm saying overtrain, they will say, I want bigger legs, I'm going to train it every second day from now on. That is not going to give you your maximum results. Recovery after an extremely maximized session will give you your best results. So understand your recovery process is what is going to give you your size, not training more often.
Very valuable point that I think a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, that so and what is the if people want to recover better, what can they do to recover?
Well, recovery comes in the form of sleep. Sleep is most important. Branched chain amino acids are important. Um, Feeding the muscle correctly is important. Um, if you are sore, a lot of people say, okay, you know what, I've overtrained, the muscle is sore, I need anti-inflammatory. Inflammation is what helps that muscle grow. Allow a certain amount of inflammation.
Yeah,
So I may have people disagreeing with me. Try not to take that anti-inflammatory.
yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah. These are the tips of the trade that you've learned. I mean, you've
Yeah,
been a
I'm sharing things with you. Yeah, I shouldn't be, Sean.
yeah. You're not sharing the dark art with us here. Um, And yeah, no, it's very, very interesting. It's such a science, and I think that what you said at the beginning is what people should understand is that everyone's body type is different. Some people will respond better to some food, some people won't. The only way you're going to know is by experimenting and listening to your body and seeing how your body feels and responds and performs when you explore these different types of foods and training. But Bronwyn, would you
Yes,
agree with me when I say the best thing to do is to stick to the basics? Do the basics well. Don't
exactly.
try and become overly complex about the way you eat and the way you train, and just put the basics in place and keep it there.
100% correct. So that's exactly what I said. So have your plan. Stick to
Yeah.
your plan. Your plan is I'm going to have this food, okay, this protein, these carbs, these fats for the next few days. And then I would try and stick to that. Look, we can never ever say minimize your vegetables or your salad. Okay,
Yeah.
those calories do more good. Okay, you never want to be malnourished. Okay, you don't want your system to be lacking in any nutrients. We would rather disregard those calories and keep in your vegetables and your salad items, right? Your omegas. I like to supplement. Okay, if a person does not understand how much of each good fat they should take in, okay, then I would rather say to them, look, if I'm not going to see you for the next 3 months, then you rather supplement your omegas. Okay, but yes, you have your base, okay, and you stick to that base. Okay, you see how your body responds. If it then changes, you say, right, I want to change, I want to add in a dairy and see how my body responds. You will know within 24 hours how your body has responded to that dairy if you have been consistent for 2 weeks. Then you know, right, my body does not like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That makes solid sense. And just sometimes it's also about not taking it too seriously because the bulk of us are not professional athletes. The bulk
Yeah,
of us just want to look and feel good and confident and feel great and be energized. So
yes.
sometimes when you pull off the bus and you have a treat, don't be hard on yourself. pick yourself up, get back on the bus, and carry on. Don't
200% correct.
Often people they have a treat, then they feel despondent, and then they're completely off the diet. It's not the end of the world. Consistency, just keep it
It,
consistent.
there's there if I can put it to you this way, there is 99% of people are unable to get onto a system and stick to it religiously from day one to even 3 months. We're all human. And one of my favorite sayings is nobody's body likes to burn fat. Your mind will play games with you.
Yeah.
You will say to yourself, I'm not feeling well. I need more food to feel better. I'm
Yeah.
feeling sick. I've got a headache. Whatever the case might be, I'm feeling weak. You will tell yourself all sorts of things. Okay? So, yes, you are human. If you cheat, don't worry. Just get up and carry on.
So true. So true. Bronwyn, it's been an absolute privilege having you on the show. We've unfortunately run out of time. But I look to have you back on the show at a later stage where we can go into a bit more depth around training techniques and that sort of thing, because I think it's just literally valuable for people out there that are trying to accomplish this alone. But thank you so much for your time. It's been such an honor having you on the show, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, Sean. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Guys, yes, it's another day, it's another episode down. I hope this has been valuable for you. Get your diet right, get your training right. Don't reinvent the wheel. Keep it simple. But most of all, if you do one thing only, and that's stay inspired. Cheers.